Cheers.
Man, you're really excited for this one.
I love talking about America.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about, since we've lived in Japan for a while now, things we miss about the USA.
Yeah. So I want to preface this by saying there's a lot of there's actually a term for the person now. It's a noun, Japanophile.
Japanophile, yeah.
That's a person who's just absolutely obsessed with Japan. And it's kind of interesting that, I don't know your experience, but from my experience, I have seen people who live here are typically, they really try to cling on to their national identity. And the people that I've seen visit Japan kind of fit that Japanophile thing. And I thought it would be the opposite. Well, maybe not the opposite, but I really expected to run into a lot more Japanophiles here, because it's like, okay, well, you would think that a person who's just really obsessed with Japan would want to like come and move here and then it's like completely forsake everything and just like fully embrace themselves. But
this is going to sound really harsh, because I am still a bona fide Japanophile. Like I like Japan more than most Japanese people, I think. like even in whenever I show my these conversations on my podcast on my English teaching YouTube channel, my students are always like, "Dude, Arthur, you know so much about Japan. I didn't I had a student the other day who was like, Arthur, I didn't know that Hokkaido used to be called Ezo, and I didn't know like the Ezo people were there. Wow, how do you know about all this stuff?" But for me, it's like, as a Japanophile, still living in Japan and still a bona fide Japanophile, I understand why there are not so many Japanophiles living here. What I think happens is people really like Japan, so they move here. But the reason they like Japan is because, well, there's kind of two things that happen. So one is they don't fit in to where they are in their home country. They get into anime, manga, they become like an anime otaku, whatever. And then they think, oh wait, I love anime, I love Japanese culture. If I come to Japan, it'll be great. Then also other people who say that they like traditional Japanese culture or whatever, they come to Japan because they love Japanese culture. They come here, but they don't find any of that here anymore. And they just become disillusioned, because living here as a foreigner is kind of tough.
It is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
Now, for me, I think one of the reasons why I don't feel that way, and I still can say I'm a Japanophile, is because I speak Japanese so well. So I didn't have the hurdles that a lot of others people did. But what do you think about that?
I think I would agree. I think for me, because I've been to Japan so many times before I moved here, I really had a clear understanding of what I was getting myself into.
Because you also, like, you didn't just visit here, you went to school here for a little while,
I went to school pretty much every year for at least a few weeks, up to a month during the summer. So I had a lot of experience with different places in Japan. And I've been to Japan 4 or 5 times before I moved here. So I had a very good understanding of, kind of, like I said, what I was getting into here. And I think kind of like what you said, where people moving here, they have this imaginary fantasy land. And then they move here and they just kind of hit a wall, and it's like, reality check. Here's all the problems now. I think we're getting a little sidetracked.
No.
We're supposed to talk about America, but
I mean, this ties into reasons why things we miss in America. I think.
But for me, I really love Japan. I mean, obviously, I live here for so long, but I've never had a strong pull to want to be Japanese. I am an American. I love being an American, and so it's since I've moved here and I've kind of been pulled out of American culture, I've found that a lot of my American traits have kind of I don't know if flourish is the right word, or kind of been more prominent in my who I am as a person. Like, for example, I listen to a lot of country music now.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
What?
I
Get out of here.
I've been kind of in and out of country music throughout my life, but I love listening to country
Okay.
music now. I I am very, very, very strict about celebrating the 4th of July.
Really?
I will not accept. I will take the day off. I don't care what day it is. I will take the day off and I will go have a barbecue and I will set off fireworks.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So
Wow.
there's like small little things about it,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, like leading up, like I have American flag stickers that I'll hand out to my students in July. I'd be like, yeah, it's America Day.
Really?
Like, do all these things. I love celebrating American culture, and I'll tell you, there's a couple things that I actually really miss.
Yeah.
First of all, I have to say it. I miss my family. I haven't seen them in almost 3 years.
What?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Wow.
Most of it's due to COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really want to see them this year. But moving on from the obvious, did you ever go to Applebee's?
Yeah.
I love Applebee's.
Yeah.
I miss that, man.
Yeah.
I miss you. I would say the closest thing you can compare them to in Japan is probably an izakaya.
Okay.
Because like you get these like chain izakaya restaurants like Torikizoku.
Yeah, right.
I think that's like the Applebee's of Japan, right? You just go get some like cheap yakitori and you're just drinking and kind of just hanging out. In America, you don't really go hang out with your friends at a bar.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you have bars there, but it's like if you're just gonna go like meet some friends and kind of hang out for an evening, you have these like diners that you go to, and I would say that Applebee's kind of falls into that diner, kind of just generic food place that you just go spend a few hours with your friends.
Yeah.
And man, I miss that.
You know what? Speaking about, so if we're talking about restaurants, what I really miss is I miss the breweries. like what I'm talking about. So I'm not just talking about like the fact that there's beer, because there's good beer here too.
There is.
What I'm talking about is like the giant, spacious warehouses that have a brewery in the back. They have good food and seating in the front, and you can get that brewery's beer with a good burger and stuff. Like you can't get that here.
You know, I will tell you about my hometown.
Okay.
In do you know Bothell?
I mean, so I've never been to Bothell, but I know where it is.
You know where it is?
Yeah.
So I'm from Bothell, and so Bothell is kind of like if you look at a map in Seattle, it's just above Seattle. If you're driving there, it's about a 20-minute drive.
20 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's about 15-20 minutes from University of Washington, so like the U District up there.
Yeah.
So Bothell is like straight up countryside.
Yeah.
You go there, it's just all forest, like really rural area. And I love that. And so at my parents' house, a 5-minute walk, 5 minutes, there's a brewery.
Oh, really?
Man. Oh my God. So I went to, most of my classes were University of Washington Bothell. So my campus was a 10-minute walk from my parents' house when I was a college student. So, you know, I'd go to school and then go straight to the brewery afterwards.
Yeah, man.
Man, oh my God, that was so good. Breweries. Breweries are something I really miss.
Yeah. Like the thing that's crazy is that so I connect a lot through the Detroit airport. And even in the Detroit airport, they have a brewery-esque restaurant. They have a couple of them where they have really high ceilings and they have like the dark wood, whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, so in Japan, you can get beer, you can get burgers. Yeah. But you can't get that same atmosphere. Yeah. You know? Like even in, so my mom's from South Carolina, right? Sure. And when we visited South Carolina, we went to a couple different breweries that just these huge buildings with like all, like, it's so funny. Like it's gotta be like the ceilings have to be like 30 feet. You know, it's just really, really tall. But it's just, there's just something about this vastness with like the huge beer. Yeah. They're not called silos, but like the containers of the beer and stuff. It's just, I miss that.
Yeah. Were you ever a big sports person in America?
You know, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a huge football guy. I was really into football. And so, like, for example, with my group of friends, I would always do you know fantasy football?
Yeah.
We would always do fantasy football. And I
Okay.
think that's really common with, like, 20-something year old guys.
Dude, it's common with 30 and 4-year-old guys
Well,
too.
sure. Fantasy football is huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, just like the whole sports culture is really, really fun in America, and it's fun in Japan too. Like, if you go to like baseball games here, you'll have a really good time. I would actually equate the experience of watching baseball to watching a football game, rather than watching a baseball game in America, because it's like here in Japan, you go to a baseball game, everyone is just hammered.
Yeah.
Everyone just gets completely hammered. It's really loud. There's cheering. People are like sending off like those balloons that are just obnoxious.
Yeah.
And that's how football games are in the US.
Yeah.
But you go to a baseball game in America, it's
Yeah.
silent.
Yeah, it's a lot quieter.
It is silent. And it's fun. It's like a little bit more of a relaxed environment. But man, you go to I really miss going to football games in America, where it's just like you have these big fat shirtless guys that are just like, yeah, go defense, like that kind of thing. Oh man, I miss that.
Yeah, well, so like I'm from Boston, which we have the Red Sox, Patriots, and like, so every like what's interesting is that I didn't realize this until I went back, but like a third of all the people are wearing sports shirts and sports clothing when they're going out and stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. That was I wore Seahawks jerseys all the time. Like going to not going to work, but going to school when I was a college student. Like I still have my Seahawks jersey.
Yeah.
Like you would see that everywhere, but you never see that here.
Yeah.
Like people will wear the team colors if you're going to a sports game, but you never see somebody wearing like somebody's jersey, for example.
Yeah. I mean, you only so where I live in this area of Kawasaki, I actually live really close to the Kawasaki Frontale soccer team stadium.
Yeah.
And so every time it's game day, you'll see a bunch of people with the Frontale shirts and like jerseys and stuff come, but other than that day, you never see anything.
I will say, when they had the Rugby World Championship here, that I kind of got a taste of that nostalgia of seeing football, because football and rugby are very similar games, but it was funny how quickly like everyone rallied around the Japanese rugby team, and you got the exact same thing. You got the exact same experience with fans. Like people were getting really drunk and shouting and like, getting really excited during the rugby matches. So I think that, that kind of thing can definitely happen in Japan, but it's just like regarding sports, I just don't think the specific sports are around to like facilitate that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
But man, I miss that.
Yeah,
I love football.
I get that.
I love football.
Yeah, like one thing that I also miss about Japan, about the States living in Japan, I'm getting confused now in my own speech. Yeah, we're already like 3/4 of the way through this guy.
Yeah.
And my son is yelling downstairs. It's great. No, but one thing I really miss, and this is probably because I'm from the northeast coast of Boston, right?
Yeah.
I really miss the beach. So like I
am so surprised to hear that. I don't even know what the East Coast is like, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So let me explain. So because I've been to beaches here.
Okay.
I've been to beaches in Osaka.
Sure.
I've been to beaches around there's no beaches really in Tokyo. But
have you been to Shonan?
I've been to Shonan area too. And I've been to even was it beaches on the Japan Sea side in Niigata, right? I've never been to Okinawa, so I can't speak about Okinawa at all.
It's Hawaii.
Yeah, basically it's Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
But like where I grew up, I always lived within a 10-minute walking distance from the beach.
Okay.
And it was a beach that I could go and spend time with my friends anytime I wanted. There was a lot of sand. It was very easy, very convenient. It was great. I have a lot of great memories by the beach. But in Japan, like there's just something either the birch, like, so the Shonan area, to me, the beaches just feel dirty.
They are dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of garbage on the beaches.
Yeah, yeah, they feel dirty. And then on the Japan seaside in Niigata, right? They have these giant cement tripods or quadrupods that are supposed to be meant for like breaking the waves or breaking a tsunami coming in.
Yeah.
But they're there, and it's super gravelly. Like, it's not even sand, it's like super gravelly. So like there's no real like quality beach that I can go and relax. And also the Atlantic Ocean, where I am at least, is the ocean waves are a lot calmer. And so like in Japan, like the Sea of Japan, I guess the waves can get pretty heavy, you know? But yeah, like, so with, so like when we went to the States before, Natsumi would take Lewis to the beach, my son Lewis to the beach, and they would play around and stuff because the waves are really weak and soft. But when we took him to the beach near Natsumi's grandparents' house in Niigata, he started crying and he was scared because the waves were too strong and like there wasn't good sand. So yeah, like, but here's the thing. So because I grew up around the beach, this is a big thing for me. Like, I remember when I was in Seattle and I went to Alki Beach for the first time, I cried. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. Like, there was like I got there and I saw the beach. I smelled the air. And just like something reminded me of home, and I got teary-eyed because of it. I didn't know I was missing it, you know?
Yeah.
But that's something I miss.
Alki is a special little treasure in Seattle. Seattle is not famous for having nice beaches, but Alki is a nice place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's another thing that you miss about the States?
Well, this is not actually from Seattle. I always kind of joke if I ever moved back to America, I wouldn't live in Seattle. I would live in California.
Dude, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Do you want it to rain 300 days of the year?
As much as I love being in Seattle, I love seeing my family and everything. California is such a fun place to live.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's the most popular state. There's a reason why everyone always moves out to like SoCal. You go out to Orange County, the beaches are just top notch. Like you can't beat them. The traffic sucks. Yeah. It's really expensive to live there. Right. There's a lot of negative things about California, but it's the weather and the beaches almost like make that not even that big of a deal. And I really miss being in SoCal.
Okay. What do you miss about it?
I miss going to Long Beach. I miss Californian culture.
Okay.
Like, for example, in California, like, people just kind of walk around in their swimwear.
Yeah, right.
So like you'll see girls walking down the street, obviously not in like Los Angeles, but like Long Beach, for example. Yeah. You'll see girls walking down the street in bikinis.
Yeah.
That's a regular thing.
Yeah.
And you're walking around without your shirt on as a guy. It doesn't matter if you're fat. You still walk around without your shirt on. Yeah. No big deal. It's very common. And I really like that casual atmosphere of just like, hey, I'm going to walk around in my swimsuit. This is what I'm wearing all day today. Yeah. I'm going to go to the shopping mall like this. I'm going to go to a restaurant like this. That is just what that I actually think that's where the no shoes, no shirt, no service policy probably started.
Yeah.
But it's really, really relaxed.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And I think part of it is living in Tokyo, because Tokyo is like the exact opposite of relaxed.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I feel self-conscious when I go out wearing, looking like a slob,
Yeah, you don't want to look like a bum here because, people will see you and they will judge you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I miss that. And I have a dream in the future that I want to move out to Enoshima. So that's like about an hour on the train south of Tokyo.
Yeah.
If you don't know where that is.
It's like a peninsula island out, just right out into the ocean.
Yeah. Going out there, I mean, it's still very much Japan, but I really get a SoCal feeling when I go out there.
Yeah, so like I really love Kamakura. And the beach by Kamakura is called Yuigahama, know? So I went to Yuigahama and like, it was nice, but it still felt dirty to me.
The beaches are very dirty. I was actually surprised. It's really shocking because Japan's like, for the most part, a really clean country. You go, like, I would say 90% of Tokyo, if you were to visit, is very clean.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Enoshima, I was really surprised how much garbage is on the beach. There's a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
And it's really crazy, especially given the fact that there's a lot of people in Japan who go out of their way to pick up trash.
Yeah, right.
You know, like every morning you'll see like some old man like riding his bicycle with like giant bags of like, you know, aluminum cans and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, the same thing, if you go to Enoshima, you'll see a whole bunch of people just combing the beach and picking up trash. So it's really surprising to me that there's still a ton of garbage there. But yeah, that's absolutely a problem. What if I were to guess? I would say that a lot of that garbage comes in from the ocean.
It could, yeah.
Yeah.
It could.
Because Japan's, like, if you live here for a while, you'll notice people don't really litter here.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah. Which is great. If there's one pet peeve I have, it's littering.
But dude, they don't litter because there's no garbage cans anywhere. So that's one thing. I miss garbage cans.
Oh, man. It is so frustrating when you have to, like, you finally accept that it's like, okay, I'm just going to have to hang on to this like pet bottle for the rest of the day.
Dude, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's actually a legitimate thing when you go to the convenience store here. It's like you'll buy like a coffee or something.
Yeah.
You're just like, when I'm going to meet a friend, it's like, I really want a coffee on the train, but you have to like weigh this option. It's like, I want to carry around a tin can for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know
but that's something that really surprised me when I came here at first was that there are no garbage cans anywhere. Like the only garbage cans you have are in convenience stores or in train stations after you've crossed the gates, you know? And it's funny because originally I was thinking, why is that? And people said it's like an anti-terrorism measure, but really it's just because they want to keep it cleaner.
Yes.
Because normally, like I actually read some research about how having garbage cans around makes the area dirtier.
Oh, I completely understand that. Right? Because that means you have to have somebody who's like changing the garbage cans over and over. But there's only so much they can do.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to be replacing it every hour. They're going to be coming in like maybe 4 or 5 times a week.
Or even a lot of people, what they'll do is they won't throw it in the garbage can, but they'll throw it near the garbage can, and that's close enough for them. Like that's what happens.
Yeah. You know? And then there's the whole thing of like separating garbage.
Yeah.
You know, if I would imagine if there's a lot of garbage cans, like maybe people get a little bit lazier and just go, oh, whatever. I know this is a pet bottle, but I'm just gonna throw this.
Yeah. Well, you have a big problem with that because especially in Tokyo, I think you're legally required when you have a vending machine or something where customers buy a plastic bottle, a pet bottle, you have to have a receptacle for that for recycling. And so convenience stores have that, vending machines have that. But on the vending machines, it always there's always a piece of paper that says, "Don't throw regular trash here." But I mean, I've been guilty of that before, where it's like I buy something and I have to carry it around the whole day, or I can throw it away in the recycling when it's not really recycling.
Yeah.
Is anyone looking? No? Doom. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like the lack of trash cans is really surprising for me.
Yeah. I definitely miss that. How do you feel about not driving here? Were you a big car person back in?
That was one of the things I was going to mention. I miss joyrides.
Yeah.
So like I grew up in a pretty wealthy area.
Okay.
North of Boston. And it was a town called Marblehead, which is like when my parents told me we were moving to Marblehead, I was like, you're joking, right? Like that's such a weird name. But there's it's called Marblehead because there's an island that's now connected by a causeway to it, and that was like they thought it was marble, but it was actually granite. So they didn't want to change it to Granite Head, you know? But so all the rich people live there. So with my friends and I, we would like get into a car and we would just drive around, look at all the huge houses. And like while we're doing that, we're chatting and stuff like that. But I don't do that in Japan. I think it's because I live in Tokyo, not necessarily because I live in Japan.
Yeah.
But what I miss is I miss the wide roads where you can drive fast and just kind of like chill and drive, you know?
I kind of to a similar extent, I miss commuting
Oh, really?
with driving.
You miss drive commutes?
Yes, because I commute here
Okay.
via
train,
and it takes about 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And back in the US, when I would commute to work, it took about 20, 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And I hate being in the train.
Really? You hate being in the train?
I hate being in the train commuting.
Okay. Because it's so crowded?
Yeah, I don't mind when it's like last train or, you know, when it's kind of like if I'm just going to meet a friend.
Yeah.
I don't mind riding the train, but I don't like getting in the train and riding the train to work because it's really crowded and I feel like I'm not able to kind of relax.
Would you rather be in LA traffic though?
Yes.
It's like bumper to bumper?
I absolutely
Really?
would. So the reason why is
I'm curious about this.
Back when I was living in SoCal, when you get in LA traffic, it's a really weird experience. First of all, it sucks because if you need to be there or if you need to be somewhere, you're not going to get there soon. Like commuting in LA traffic, it's like trying to get anywhere in LA is going to take an hour at least. But when you're living in SoCal, you get used to it and you kind of like build your life around it. It's like commuting. It's like you start throwing on podcasts, you start like creating playlists and everything with your iPad or with Spotify or whatever you're using. And it becomes this fun experience of like you're just zoning out and just being alone and just kind of getting to enjoy yourself just being alone.
But you can't do that on the train?
Not to the same
Well, you
extent.
can't be like alone because like there's
alone,
like
alone.
someone who's like right here and there's someone else in your armpit. But
and it's like you know, obviously like I'll throw my headphones on and I'll listen to music or something when I'm on the train, but you can't get that isolated feeling.
Yeah, you have that space. Yeah, you have like your own space. You're in enclosed space.
When you're commuting to work and when you're stuck in traffic, it sucks because you're in traffic. But you also get to appreciate the fact that you're alone and you can just be alone for like an hour or two, and that's really nice. I really miss that.
I get that. You know, so I've never had to commute in my life ever. So I don't know about like commuting with traffic or commuting on the train.
Yeah.
I've always been self-employed.
I don't miss parking. I will say.
Dude, parking
is like the number one thing that sucks.
Dude, so parking in Boston, by the way, if you work in Boston, parking, if you don't have like a monthly pass or whatever, it's upwards of like $50 a day. It's ridiculous.
Christ. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Parking is actually surprisingly cheap here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like at most $20 a day.
I really didn't expect that. Just like going by like how insane gas prices are and like the highway fees and everything. And then I looked at parking. Like there's a parking lot that's like 24 hours near my apartment, and it's like I think it's like 60 yen. An hour or something.
Yeah, no, it can be cheap for sure.
Yeah,
dude. But I do have to say, so like there are some things that I miss in the United States. But to be honest, I don't miss a whole lot.
I mean, there's a reason why we both live here.
I know.
Right?
I'm gonna stay here. I like living here. I mean, if I get super rich, I'm gonna have maybe like a house in Switzerland or something. But other than that, I'm happy here, man.
Yeah. No, I think we've talked about this before, like where we both go back to the U.S.
Yeah.
And personally, I feel like I get anxiety if I spend too much time in the U.S. because I really like my life here.
Yeah.
I really like living in Japanese culture. 1 week is about that's the good amount of time that I can spend in America before I start getting like, okay, I'm sick and tired of being here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the thing that gets me most is the food. Like
Yeah.
so, like you have the breweries and stuff, right? But
Yeah.
like it just doesn't taste as good.
Yeah.
Like I wish my family would move to Japan because then my life would be complete. You know. But
Yeah, it's the food is very it's pretty funny. I actually I'm kind of surprised to say this, but I feel like I eat a more diverse like amount like kind of food
Mhm.
here
For sure,
than
man.
I do in the US. When I was living in America, it was like Chinese food, absolutely. Mexican, sure.
Yeah.
American food.
Yeah.
It's like those three things. You got
Well, it's-
Chinese, Mexican, American.
It's also like not a lot of vegetables too.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
I never eat vegetables in America.
Yeah. They actually taste good here.
Yeah.
So
I think the vegetables are fine in the US, but
Yeah.
it's like you just there's not a lot of cuisine that like really
Yeah.
uses vegetables.
yeah, it's like more meat, more
It's-
cheese.
More meat, cheese, but I think like bread
bread
and
a
like
lot, too.
potatoes. Those
Yeah.
are like really pushed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so that's a whole nother topic about why we choose to live here and why we like living here, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else that you miss about living in the United States? I'm done with topics.
One more thing.
Okay.
One more thing. I miss drive-throughs.
Yes.
I miss drive-throughs. Why
Okay.
is that not a thing in Japan?
You know,
Why
so
is that not a thing?
so drive-throughs exist in McDonald's, but that's about it.
Yeah.
They don't really exist here.
Yeah, I miss drive-throughs. I miss getting hammered and rolling, not drinking and driving, but rolling with my friends, going into like Taco Bell at midnight,
Dude.
or something dumb like that, or Jack in the
Yeah.
Box or whatever. But I miss that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, so like definitely like car fun where like you're chilling with your friends, you're going to something. I have a lot of great memories with my friends driving someplace
Yes.
and like yeah.
There's a lot of experiences that are tied to just like, hey, let's all drive somewhere.
Yeah. I think part of that is because we live in Tokyo where not as many people have cars, but also like I said before, you know, the roads are narrower.
Yeah.
And the traffic laws are stricter.
Yeah.
And it's not really as free as it is in the States.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I think this
let's-
is good for today.
Let's tie.
We
Oh
finished
my
this
God.
up, man.
I'm
You got to finish that last
I'm going to
sip.
be completely incoherent.
Don't worry,
here
we're gonna
in a
get
couple
dinner.
minutes.
We're gonna get dinner after this. So awesome, man. All right, I'll see you next time.
See ya.